What's up, everybody? You're watching Dead End Sports. This is the very first fantasy football dedicated show that we are launching and putting out for you guys. It's something that we talked about doing as of last year, but we never got around to putting it out. So, yeah, man, we just wanted to kind of give you guys a preview show of the upcoming fantasy football season. And, for the last couple of years, we've been playing fantasy football. I won. Of course, I got to do the bragging.
Yeah.
I won last year's league after losing the year before. So shout out to the winner. I can't remember who that was, but anyway, some of you guys may want to know why you should listen to us.
Tell them why. Tell them. Go ahead, tell them.
We have over 28 years combined experience, combined fantasy football experience.
That's right.
28 years. We have seen it all. We have been around since like forever, before fantasy football even became popular. Just to kind of give you an outline of the show, right? So we're just going to go through our background of when we started playing, how we got into fantasy football. We're going to give you our top 12 projected quarterbacks for the year. We're going to go through some sleepers. We're going to go through some quarterbacks to stay away from, some busts, and then we'll talk draft strategies for the quarterback position and kind of, let you know what you should do if you don't get one of those first-tier quarterbacks. And that's it. So real quickly, I'll go ahead and just jump into my background experience of playing fantasy football. I started playing in 1999, actually 98, because it was, and I'll never forget this, because it was Kurt Warner's first season. And
with a turf, the greatest turf on the show.
Yep.
Greatest show on turf. I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, man. I'll never forget, because I don't know who my quarterback was at the time, but I do remember picking him up because he had lit it up. So I remember I went 2-4 to start the season, and I picked up Kurt Warner. I had Kurt Warner, Edgerrin James. I do remember him, and then somebody else. Man, I lit it up, man. I didn't lose a game for the rest of the year, and I won actually the league championship that year. So the first year I ever played fantasy football, I won a title, and it's been uphill ever since. But yeah, Kurt Warner was the reason why I won. I started playing, well, not the reason why I started playing fantasy football, but he does play a big role in the history of me playing fantasy football. And it's been great. And I've been addicted ever since then, 1998, and I haven't stopped since that time. And actually, here's another story I think some of you guys will like. The one year I contemplated retiring was the first year I played in Beezy's league. And that was the year I finished 5-7. And I was like, there's no way I could go out like that. Because I was and I was like, and I didn't have any running backs. I had Randy Moss and I had Terrell Owens, and my quarterback was okay, but I didn't have any running backs. I had like Kevin Default, Willie Parker. All my running backs got hurt. Chris Cooley, my tight ends got hurt. I could not win a game. So yeah, I went 5-7, and I actually went and looked at that in Yahoo. I saw my little email. It was like, yeah, I'm not retiring. I said, I'm coming back. And I came back that next year, and I won the league. I actually won that in the basketball league, which was crazy. So I've had a lot of fun playing fantasy football and just fantasy sports, period, man. I've coached just under my Yahoo profile, 101 teams, just of all kind of different sports. I play hockey, I play fantasy football, basketball, baseball. I've done it all, man. 26 trophies, man, spread among all of the yeah. What about you? When did you start playing fantasy football?
Man, 2003. Yeah, 2003, man. Like that was my introduction to fantasy sports, period. Like that was the first year I played basketball and football, was 2003. And I always remember, because I always remember 2003 was the year before I moved down to Atlanta. But it was funny. I pulled it up. I'm glad I found it. But here go my draft results from my first year in fantasy football. Right, round one, I had the 8th pick, so I had Randy Moss. Second pick, I had Donovan McNabb. Third pick, I had Larry Fitzgerald. Fourth pick, I had New England's defense. Fifth pick, I picked Joey Harrington for my backup. Sixth pick, I pray you remember this dude, Deuce Staley. Remember Deuce Staley?
Yeah.
I've had him. Quentin Griffin from Kansas City. He was a beast backup. I had Bubba Franks. I had Willis McGahee. Martin Gramatica. I had three. I don't know why I picked three QBs, but Eli Manning. I got him in the 11th round. Rod Smith, who was he was the second string wide receiver at the time for Denver. Anquan Bolden. Green Bay's defense, and Anthony Thomas. Like, that was my squad going in my first year in fantasy football, man. And like, it's just crazy because, like, yeah, Ken to tell you, man, like, you get so many different emotions. I've had plenty of years where I'm like, man, the hell with fantasy football. I'm not playing no more. I'm not playing. But it's just like, when that season comes, it's like when August come and then going into early September, it's like, oh God, I gotta play. It's like, then you know your friends are playing in, and it's like, oh man, you know, you want to get that talking junk kind of atmosphere and get that mood again. And it's like, so when September comes, you sucked into another fantasy football year after you previously said, man, I'm not playing. The league I've been playing in, this same league I've been playing in for over 10 years, and I also got another league that I've been pretty much started up that Ken's been in with me since I moved down here, called the Real NFL. I think this is going on the 7th year. But my main league, I won that championship in 2010. I think the one year we had 14 teams, I had won a championship for that one. I remember I had the first pick, and I had to sit there at 1, and I had to wait 14 picks, almost 28 picks until it came back to me. But I ended up managing getting a nice squad, and I won. I squeaked out and won a championship. And that was the year. Usually it's funny because the years that I've had, like, and you know, for people who's listening, who's fantasy gurus, for me, this has always been my luck. Whenever I have a so-so to average regular season year, like I barely squeak into the playoffs, I always get my team going at the right time, because when you're playing fantasy football, you have to be a shark out there in that waiver wire. You have to be a shark. You have to find those gold nuggets while you're playing, you know, not just on draft day. Draft day is good and all, but not only you have to draft good, but you have to wire and shark good throughout the season, through weeks, 3 when the bye weeks kick in, pretty much from weeks 4 through like weeks 12 going into the playoffs. You have to be sharking. You have to like really sneak for players that you think no one is looking at, and when that waiver wire is coming in, you gotta get them. Even if it's players you think that's probably going to be like, you know what? This guy going to be on the cusp come week 7 or 8. Let me go get him now in week 5. And then come week 7 and 8, you like, bam, I got a gym. And then everybody's already looking for him. Guess what? He's already on your squad. So that's one thing about fantasy football that I've learned over the years. Not only you have to draft good, or sometimes even if you only draft average, if you're a shark out there in the waiver wire, you can get those gems, man. You just got to really stay on it and pay attention. But oh yeah, fantasy football is fun, man. Like it's addictive. It's very addictive. I never thought I would be hooked onto this as a drug every single year. Fantasy football is the only fantasy sport that I play literally every single year. Now fantasy NBA, I maybe take like a year off or 2. You know, I'm like, okay, I don't want to play this year. I'll play the next year, the year after, whatever. But fantasy football, I'm in it every single year. Like, I'm playing every single year. I look forward to it every single year. I'm looking forward to draft day, talking to junk while you doing a live draft. So it's just cool, man. I think the only thing from my experience, and I don't know if Ken probably experienced this before, but I've never played in the PPR League. I always hear people talk about PPR Leagues. I've never played in one.
Yeah.
So I would like to experience the PPR League one year. I keep telling myself I'm not going to play in more than three leagues, and I always find myself playing in like 5 or 6 leagues. But so far this year, I'm only in 3 leagues, and I want to keep it that way. But I wouldn't mind playing in the PPR League just to kind of experience that. I've never experienced that before.
I haven't played in a PPR League before. I have played in in Roto, which I don't know if I know it's similar, but I haven't played in a PPR League. But like baseball, you can play like Roto. A Roto League is really good for baseball because it's so statistically driven. But no, it's always been head to head, and I think I have played in some Roto fantasy football leagues, which are hard, but it's also interesting. Basketball as well, but hanging out with you guys and playing with you guys has actually re-inspired me to keep going, because the leagues are so competitive and the competition is always there, and I look forward to that, because if you win your league, the real NFL league, even the worst teams in that league are good. They just have bad luck.
They just have bad luck sometimes. Yep.
So, and much like you, I have played over the years in so many different leagues because there's so many. At the time, there were so many different players that I wanted to get. So I would create multiple leagues to try to get those players just to have on my team because I may have been fans of those players. Right. So, and that's why I ended up playing with so many different. That's why I had like 101 teams and so many fantasy football teams because of that.
Let me ask you this too.
Yeah.
I've never, like you said, you've never experienced a PPR league. I never have either. Have you ever experienced playing in a keeper league? I've never did that before. I know a couple of cats that played in they fantasy leagues. They always have keeper leagues. I never like really tried to understand and really get the gist of keeper leagues. And I guess that's why I've been turned off about it. But like I've always just played in regular fantasy leagues where every year you just draft a whole new squad. But I heard keeper league is kind of interesting, but I just never really been interested. Have you ever played in the keeper league before?
I have, but the problem with keeper leagues is that is finding the people to play with over and over again, and sometimes you'll forget about that league, or you just don't make the cut. Like they'll send out the invites and you don't get in time.
Oh,
so
okay.
Players. So like if you were to turn the NFL into a keeper league, then that would be tight because the same people play every year.
Yeah.
That would put a nice twist on it. And it's always interesting because you would look to get like of course keep like whoever had Mike Evans would keep Mike Evans and not release him. Or if they had like Aaron Rodgers or something like that, you would decide to keep those players. And sometimes you got to let them go. So you got to really make some GM decisions.
Oh, okay.
Think about it. It puts a nice twist on it.
I'm gonna have to try it one year, man. I just never been like super interested in playing in the keeper league. Just because I just haven't took the time to really understand how it works. I think if I really understand how it works, maybe I would probably be interested in trying it one year. But I just never really been like super interested in seeing how it works. But hey, you want to talk about these QBs, man? Let's get to the topic about these who's the sleepers and I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch on as far as his fantasy background or whatever before we get into the QB talk.
You know what, man? Not really. I think other than that is that I hate dead teams. And look, there's some people we kicked out. Yeah. Well, I won't say we because I don't run any. I'm not a commissioner.
It's people I kicked out. Yeah, I'm fine. I would say it because I'm commissioner in all leagues. And one thing about fantasy leagues, man, just keep the integrity up because I know me personally. Whenever I've had bad fantasy football years, at that point, by the time like week 6 or 7 come and I'm like 2-6, at that point my thing is playing spoiler. I look at it like this: if I'm not gonna make the playoffs, I'm taking you with me. And it's like a lot of people don't have that mentality because I'm super competitive. So it's like, even though I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a wrap for me, I'm not just going to just stop doing my lineups because at that point you messing up the integrity of the league and then you're giving teams that, probably don't have that advantage to get in the playoffs, you're giving them a leeway into the playoffs or or that team, that number 1 seed. If you're trying to get that bye week, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to compete with a bye week with maybe 2 other players, and those 2 other players are playing against that guy that stopped doing his lineup 5 weeks ago. It's like I like to just keep the integrity. If you losing, just be like, look, you know what? I like to play that crabs in the barrel mentality whenever I'm losing. Like, okay, Ken fighting for number 1 seed. Guess what? I'm not in the playoffs. I'm playing him this week. I'm going to still do my lineups, and I'm going to still be sharking for players to try to beat Ken, just so I can say, ha, you don't get that 1 seed, or ha, you fighting for that 6th final spot, and losing to me in week 11 might cost you that playoff spot. So, I don't know. I like integrity of the league, man. So, if you're listening to this, and if you want to play in my league, I don't care if you 1-9 or you 9-0. You better keep playing every single week like it means something.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If like you said, if I'm 2-6, I'm so confident in myself, and I know how fantasy football works.
Yep.
Like at any given moment, you can go on a run.
Yep.
So you can immediately go to 6-6, and then it's just depending on how the rest of the league is stacked, you might sneak in as a 6th seed. And much like you, if I get in as a 6th seed, if I get in the playoffs,
period.
Yeah, I'm always saying all I need to do is get in the playoffs. That's it.
Because we seen Passy. Remember Passy got in? I think she got in at like 6 and 7. and she ran. She freaking got in the championship. I was like, wait a minute, how a 6 and 7, a 6-seeded team, like make this run? It just like sometimes the ball just get rolling for you at the right time. And I've seen teams that start off like 5-0 or 6-0 and start off and then maybe either miss the playoffs by one game or get in the playoffs and get ousted, you know, in the first round because their team started going downhill at the wrong time. I've seen it plenty of times where teams start off hot. I think it happened to Altwine. Shout out to Altwine. I think he started off like 4-0 or 5-1, and he still didn't make the playoffs because his team injuries and just, I mean, you know how crazy football is. So, like you said, man, all you gotta do is get in. All I want to do is just get in. I don't care if I got a bye week off the 1 seed or if I'm a 6 seed. You know what I'm saying? I just need to get in. That's all I fight for. I just want to be the top 6 teams to get in.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. If I get in the playoffs, anything can happen. Just like last year, I think I won my opening round. I think I made it in last year in the DS League as 7-6 or something. Mm-hmm. And I won the first matchup by like 0.2 points and ended up winning the whole thing.
Yeah, see?
So you never know.
You never know, man.
Fantasy football is so crazy because I didn't even want to check the score.
Yep.
I knew I lost.
Yep.
But anyway, man, we can talk about that all day, man. Just different fantasy football experience.
I know.
Quarterbacks this year, and quarterbacks is always interesting because there are always quarterbacks like Peyton Manning who can win a league.
Yep.
And then, you know, there are quarterbacks that'll just get you by. So here are the top 12 quarterbacks that finished the season last year. At the end of the year, this is where they were ranked. Andrew Luck was number 1. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers finished 2nd. Russell Wilson. Peyton Manning is 4th. Drew Brees is 5th. Big Ben 6th. Matt Ryan 7th. It didn't feel like it. Ryan Tannehill, believe it or not, was 8th. Tom Brady 9th. Phillip Rivers 10th. Eli Manning 11th. And Tony Romo 12th. Outside of that was you had the Joe Flacco, Cutler, Stafford, Newton's, Kaepernick, which I told everybody was a fluke. And then, you know, you get into rookies like Bridgewater and Bortles, who actually started later on in the year and actually did okay. Mm-hmm. I think at one point I had to play Bortles last year. And it didn't go well. But he was all I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the list from last year. What are your top 12 quarterbacks? Do you have your top 12 quarterbacks?
Yeah. Going into this year.
Yeah.
Top 12 fantasy. Now this is just fantasy. Now we talking about fantasy wise, but I think going this year I got number 1 I have Aaron Rodgers, number 2 I have Andrew Luck, number 3 I have Drew Brees because I think they're going to pass the ball a lot anyway. Even though he don't have Jimmy Graham, Drew Brees is going to get his passing yards. So, Drew Brees, what is that? Number 3, number 4. I got Big Ben just because of the weapons he got now. You know, he got a good wide receiver core. I got Peyton Manning because I still think Peyton Manning is going to be Peyton Manning. What's that? 5. 6. I got Russell Wilson. Just you add Jimmy Graham to his arsenal. I think that they're going to still be good. Number 7, I have Tony Romo because of Dez Bryant and the other receiving core. Number 8, I have Matt Ryan only just because for regular season purposes because Matt Ryan always does well in the regular season. You know, he's always that safe guy. Number 9, I have Eli Manning. I think Eli Manning with his weapons he got coming back, I think I wouldn't be surprised. Only thing with Eli Manning, he just got to get them interceptions down because we already know in fantasy football, interceptions is like a no-no. And I think number 10, it's actually one of my sleepers, I think is Ryan Tannehill. I think he's going to have a little bit better season fantasy-wise than anticipated. So, you said 12. I'm sorry, that's 10. Number 11, Matthew Stafford, just because of Calvin Johnson. At number 11, and then at 12, I got Phillip Rivers. I think I give Phillip Rivers that same reason like Drew Brees. He's gonna pass the ball a lot. He's gonna pass. I think Phillip Rivers is gonna do his thing. He's gonna always pass the rock. So that's my top 12 fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy. So my 1 and 2 are reversed. So I have Andrew Luck. I think he'll finish top in the league this year. Even though Aaron Rodgers, he was only 2 touchdowns away Well, as far as fantasy points, they were so close.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck finished, and this is just to let everybody know, this is Yahoo. This is Yahoo Fantasy Sports. It's not any other scoring system. This is just Yahoo. So we're just going by that because that's what we play in the most. But yeah, Andrew Luck finished with 431 points, and Aaron Rodgers 430 points. Now, what's crazy about that is that Andrew Luck threw 16 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers only threw 5, but Andrew Luck had more passing yards than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he did.
Where I do like Aaron Rodgers at number 1 is that I think they're going to pass it more. He may have more passing yards, but that also depends on how much they run the ball. So, you know, it's give and take. I think that the Colts don't really have a running game the way that the Green Bay Packers do.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to go with Andrew Luck, number 1.
And they in a weaker division too.
Yeah. He's gonna chuck the ball all over the field. Plus, he can run. They both ran the ball for about the same amount of yardage and touchdowns. It really comes down to touchdowns and passing yards, and of course, interceptions. I
see. And then just before you continue, the only reason why I had Aaron Rodgers at 1 because the man is really smart with the ball. He don't throw a lot of interceptions. He do not throw a lot of interceptions. If Aaron Rodgers throw you interceptions, that's kind of shocking. So I think that's the reason why I put him up there because, you know, you get more interceptions, that's just a more negative point. So that's the only reason why I got Aaron Rodgers as number 1, man. Plus, he a bad man as well. So, but go ahead, you're to number 3.
All right. You know what? Let me do something. That was their rankings. Let me go back through this in terms of fantasy points. I'm gonna reel this off again.
Okay.
I just re-ranked it. So Andrew Luck 1, Aaron Rodgers 2. That didn't change, but Peyton Manning did.
Okay.
So Peyton Manning is 3rd. Ben Roethlisberger is 4th, and this really makes a difference now. Drew Brees is 5th. Russell Wilson 6th. Tom Brady 7. Matt Ryan 8. Tony Romo 9. Ryan Tannehill 10. Eli Manning 11. Philip Rivers 12. So we still have the same quarterbacks. They're just in different orders based on the number of fantasy points that they have.
Yeah.
So my 1 and 2 still remains. I'm gonna go with I'm stuck between Big Ben and Peyton Manning. Only because Big Ben said they want to average 30 points. How are you going to put up 30 points? You got to score some points.
But Ben, they got that running game too. They got a good running game and they got a deep threat. They got a good passing game. So
but remember, Le'Veon Bell caught a lot of passes and he scored a lot of passes.
He did.
So, you know, but that running game is there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But just off legacy, man, I'm gonna go with Peyton Manning because I have concerns, and I know we're gonna talk about running backs later, but I have concerns about the running game. I don't think C.J. Anderson's the guy. I think they may go to a platoon system. Based on what I've seen in the preseason so far, nobody really looked good. So I'll go with Peyton Manning. I'm gonna go with Big Ben for just because on the premise that they want to air the ball out. I'm gonna put Russell Wilson 5th. I think Jimmy Graham will push him up a little bit, and the threat of Jimmy Graham should open up the running game that much more. So I think Russell Wilson has a chance for a nice fantasy football season by running and passing the ball.
Let me ask you, since we talking about quarterbacks, where you think roughly Russell Wilson will get drafted at? Around like what round you think you can see?
He's not a 1st or 2nd rounder.
Of course.
So I think that he will probably go 6th or 7th.
Wow, you think he's gonna go that low? Because I've been mocking. I did like 2 mocks draft. I see him going as average as anywhere between early 4th round and early 5th. But damn, 7th round.
Maybe 5th or 6th, but I think I see him middle round because I think it just depends on what people. You know, everybody's gonna go for the quarterback. So people are going to load up, I think, on position receivers, and then quarterbacks will kind of be there. So I think depending on how they draft and depending on the value that teams place on quarterbacks will affect his draft. So,
so you got Russell.
Yeah, so I say 6 or 7. So I don't know if people are going to believe in Russell Wilson that much the way that I'm going to give him this year. So, so that's 6, right?
Yep.
Brady's out for 4 games, maybe. So he's gonna drop. But he's still lethal. But he won't from a fantasy perspective.
I wouldn't put it. That's the only reason why I didn't put him in.
Yeah. You know what? I'll go with Tony Romo 7. And the reason why I'm going with Tony Romo 7 is because no DeMarco Murray. They will air the ball out.
Air the ball out. Yep, they will. They will be tossing that bad boy around.
Eli is 8.
Okay.
Eli is 8.
We both got Eli.
Man, he has all of the weapons.
He got it. He got it too, and the sleeping running game too.
Yeah, he does, and that could impact his fantasy numbers, but he can air it out. So Eli 8, Matt Ryan 9, Tannehill, Rivers. I don't know where to go with that one. Mm-hmm. So I'll take Rivers. I don't think they have a running game.
Okay.
So I'll take Rivers. Give me Tannehill. Give me Stafford. He'll bounce back this year. And Tom Brady. I think
12.
Yeah, because I think in 12 games, Tom Brady can put up some numbers. Okay. If you think about it. And I think he could. I mean, since we're talking like real talk, if you can get a quarterback. See, this is why I hate doing this show because you're kind of giving strategies away. But think about this: if you can get a quarterback to get you through the first 4 games, and you get Tom Brady on the back end, he can win the league for you.
Yeah, because it's gonna be interesting going into these drafts because it's like, who's gonna be the guy that's gonna be like, okay, let me take a chance, let me get Tom Brady, even though I know he's out for 4 seasons, like. You know what I'm saying? It's like, who's gonna take that chance? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's gonna roll that dice? You know what I'm saying? Because if you pick Tom Brady, I mean, is he gonna be your first quarterback you draft, or is he gonna be your 7th, 8th round quarterback, hoping that he's there that you draft? You know, like after you draft if you draft a Russell Wilson first, and then be like, okay, if Russell Wilson can get me through these first 4 weeks, bam, I'll pick up Brady in the 7th or 8th round. Like, like what? How would you go about to draft if you're eyeing Tom Brady? You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Yeah,
it depends on where he falls. I haven't done any mock drafts.
I did 2, just because in my main league. Yeah, I know I'm drafting 12th. I got the 12th pick, so I did a couple of mocks. Like if I'm picking 12th or whatever. So,
I normally don't. Like I like to talk a lot of crap. I've been for so long, I don't need to do mock drafts. But I think just for the sake of this show, so we can give people as much value as possible, I'll do a couple just to kind of get an idea for where people are falling. Because I don't want to mislead anybody that's listening to this. I'll come back to Tom Brady in the strategy section because I think there's a couple of scenarios I want to toss out. So, what about sleeper quarterbacks for you this year?
All right. So you said what?
You said Tannehill early.
Tannehill is definitely one. We talked about it when we shot our Dead End Sports video on YouTube. Make sure y'all subscribe if y'all listening to Dead End Sports on YouTube. Eli Manning. I think he can have a really breakout year. Like I think Eli can be one of those guys that can, once the fantasy regular season is over, he can be like maybe top 5 as far as fantasy points. Like like the top 5 QBs, the most fantasy points. I think Eli can rush to that and get that. So long as he don't have those games where he's throwing 5 or 6 interceptions. Another sleeper guy is Teddy Bridgewater. I would not be surprised if Teddy Bridgewater have a good QB fantasy QB year. That dude, I think he can pull off. I'm about to shock you with this one though. This next one, I think of course no one's paying attention to this guy, but I think Ryan Fitzpatrick might have a sleeper, a decent year. I'm not saying he's gonna have a top 5 type of year, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Tannehill puts up, depending on how your scoring system is in your league, put up anywhere between 17 to 20 points a week. That's pretty.
If you get the job, though.
Yeah, if you get a job. But we already know it's the Geno Smith situation, so I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's gonna be the next up. I think he'll be next up. Because who else is fighting for the QB position in the Jets?
Just really him.
That's what I'm saying. So think I would not be surprised if I see Ryan Fitzpatrick put up anywhere between 17 to 20 points per week at the QB position. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, they're my sleepers. Ryan Tannehill, Eli Manning, Teddy Bridgewater, and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
For me, I have man, you did shock me with Teddy Bridgewater, because I think he's gonna have a good year. They say he's already in mid-season form, and he's so smooth, man.
Yeah, he is. I liked him ever since at Louisville. I remember when he was at Louisville. I said on Dead End Sports, I said, yo, look out for this kid in Louisville named Teddy Bridgewater. He is the dog. That dude got that poise. So, and I've been bigging him up. It's on record. I've been bigging him up when we was doing Dead End Sports, man. Like when we was doing the blog talk before we even started doing YouTube. I was like, yo, y'all better look out for this dude Bridgewater, man. Like he's that dude. So. Yeah, I'm glad so far he's proven me right. So I'm sticking with him. I'm sticking with him. Even though I hate my Lions got to see him twice this year, but almost for the years to come. But Teddy Bridgewater, man, I got faith in him.
You know what, man? I really want to pull for Geno Smith from a fantasy perspective. I don't think he can help you, but I think, especially now that he's hurt, he really needed time to get those reps in.
Yep.
Because he has weapons.
He has weapons. Yep.
And it's like you have weapons, you have a coach, but you also have a coach that like to run the ball.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like always been in the back of my mind because of the weapons. But now that he's hurt, he's kind of knocked himself out of that.
And that's why I said don't sleep on Ryan Fitzpatrick, because him taking that position, they got weapons. He can. Yeah,
I'm totally with you on Eli. Of course, he made the top. He made our top 12 anyway. But I think he's going to be up in that top tier. Derek Carr in Oakland. Derek Carr,
yeah, because they got Amari Cooper, right? Amari Cooper, and who else they got over there? They got a little decent wide receiver core, man. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good little surprising.
He had 21 touchdowns and 12 interceptions last year. He could sneak out, and I still don't believe because I wanted to say maybe Colin Kaepernick had a down year. No. But he made some bad passes in the preseason, so I'm not going to even reach. So I'm going to stick with Derek Carr, of course, Eli, and I'm with you on Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's going to be that guy. I think he's going to have a good year. Plus, he got AP back, man, and he has Cordarrelle Patterson, who hopefully will get his act together. I think they could be a problem.
Also, too, I think another sleeper, or well, not really a sleeper, just someone I think you can possibly get in the late rounds. It depends on how you draft. If you want to stack up your wide receivers and your running backs first, and you be like, hey, I get a quarterback in the 8th round. I think a guy you can definitely get in the 8th or 9th round, it'll be Blake Bortles, someone that can probably put up. Jacksonville don't really got that many weapons, but I mean, he got the tools, he got the proper mechanics and everything as a QB. I think he can be that guy you can pick in the 8th or 9th round that can pull off anywhere between 15 to 18 points per week, and at the QB position, in fantasy points. I think that would definitely be a good little sleeper QB that can just kind of be consistent and get the job done. You know what I'm saying? It's Blake Bortles. So for all you people that's drafting, if you want to get a late QB, Blake Bortles would be that guy. He'd definitely be sitting there in the 8th, maybe 9th round. Definitely. So,
he'll be sitting there longer than that.
Yeah. So just because of the situation that he's at, the team he's playing for. So
honestly, you might can get him off waivers.
That's possibly. But if you're looking at it like, look, let me fill up my position players first, my wide receivers and running backs first. Let me go ahead and get a late quarterback. If you want to take that chance on that late quarterback, you can get that guy in them late rounds, man. Definitely.
What about busts? You have any busts this year? Because most fantasy football teams are 12 to 14.
Oh man, that's a good point, Ken.
It's
you always gonna have that bust, man. You always gonna have someone that you be like, damn, I thought you was gonna do good, but you bust. You was a bust. Okay, so
it would probably have to. So I think Phillip Rivers, because even though he's in my 12, I think. Because somebody has to draft him, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking you drafted this guy to be your starting quarterback.
Right.
I think Phillip Rivers could probably mess somebody up.
I think two people possibly, and we had him in our top. But that's what I'm saying. But someone that you expect to do good, but they don't really live up to the bill. Not saying that they have really a horrible season, but you get that quarterback thinking like, dang man, you were supposed to put at least 25 points a week, and here you go putting up 6 points this week, 7 points the next week, and then 20 points this week. Like, you're very inconsistent. Tony Romo, maybe, even though we had him in our top 12, I can see Tony Romo because one factor is because of the running game. His running game, I don't think what DeMarco Murray did, it will make anybody's quarterback life easier. Anybody. If you don't gotta use your arm that much and just hand the ball off, of course life is gonna be so much easier. But now you gotta make more decisions with your arm. You know, Tony Romo interceptions might go up a lot. You know, he might not have that season that you think he might pull off. And another guy, and we talked about how this guy has weapons, Ben Roethlisberger. Let's not forget, last season was probably one of his most sexiest fantasy years. Like, as far as just fantasy football, because normally, you know, you might go to Ben Roethlisberger in real life saying, hey, Ben, win this game. But Ben's going to win ugly. He's going to throw, you know, maybe barely 200 yards, you know, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but he's going to win. But Ben always find a way to win. So it's not the sexiest QB, you know, sexiest fantasy-wise QB. So, you know, I think some people are so, like, in love with what they saw last year, and now he got Antonio Brown, and now you know what the weapons he got. Now, guess what, though? These defensive coordinators, they don't get paid $1 million for no reason. So they might key into some stuff. And Ben Roethlisberger may not look so sexy this season. He might not throw for almost 5,000 yards this year like he did his previous season. So he could have a decline year based off what he did last year. So you thinking Ben Roethlisberger gonna throw for almost 5,000 years? He might end up being a bust for you and not pull off those type pretty fantasy numbers that he did last year. So I got Tony Romo and Ben Roethlisberger for possible bust. It can possible bust your season, man. Especially if you draft them early.
Yeah. Give me Rivers and give me Breeze because I just don't know what's going to happen without Jimmy Graham. Colston didn't have a great year.
No,
Brandon Cooks is trick.
Yep.
But who else? You got Colston, Cooks. Who's the tight end?
Yep.
Who's the safety valve?
Because they let Sproles go, which was stupid.
And
you know,
right. So Breeze had the numbers, but he could fall off this year, especially if you're spending a first or a second round pick on him.
Yeah, because I saw Breeze definitely going late second round. Like the two mock drafts I got, Breeze was gone by that 26, 27, 28th pick. He was gone. So,
I don't know if I would take him that high.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he was going early, but you know, of course, you can't really base mock draft. I like to do mock drafts to see kind of a little bit of an idea of, you know, where players are going to be, you know, getting picked up at. Because of course, you know, you might play in your league where, you know, guys love quarterbacks. So you might play in a league where guys going to pick 3 quarterbacks in the first round. Where in mock drafts, I'm seeing Tom Brady getting picked in the 5th round, and 6th round, and 7th round. And I'm like, I don't see him going that late in most fantasy leagues I play in. So
yeah, and you know, people are just testing strategies. They're trying to see if I get this pick, if I pick this guy, what kind of team I can put together. So you can't trust it, but it should give you an overall idea of people.
And just like I told you, Ken, like the reason why I did mock, because I know I'm picking 12th in my main league. You know, like he already did the automatic draft, you know, lottery order or whatever. So I'm picking 12th. So I'm like, you know what? Let me do a couple of mocks and just see what's out there when I'm picking 12. You know what I'm saying? So it's just an idea. I mean, but I know the team I picked in the mock draft, I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna pick this team in this league. Like, there's no way these guys gonna let me get this team. So, you know, it's just like a good little measuring stick.
Yeah. So, so let me throw this at you real quick. Preseason kicked off. Mariota, Winston made their preseason debuts. Mariota went 7 for 8 for 94 yards, 2 turnovers. I think both were fumbles. Winston, 9 for 16 for 131 and a rushing touchdown.
And an interception.
He almost threw 2.
Yep.
But you expect that. People would be kind of crazy not to.
Yeah.
Let's say, for instance. Your quarterback is down. And you got players hogging quarterbacks on the bench, so you can't even really get a quarterback decent. Mariota's there, Winston's there. Who do you take if they're the only two quarterbacks that's worth picking up on the waiver wire?
I'm going with Winston, simply because I like his receiving core. I like Mike Evans and I like Vincent Jackson. And they're not in the super tough division. I mean, their division is not like, it's not like they're facing a good, like, oh my God, that defense of, that defense division. The defense in that division is really tough. They really mean. Just last year, a 7-9 team went to the postseason out that division. So I might have to get the edge to Jameis Winston just because of his receiving core and his weapons that he got throwing the ball. Because Vincent Jackson and Mike Evans going to still ball out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think for that alone, I'm giving it to Jameis Winston.
Well, they made McCown look good, in stretches.
They're right, exactly. My point exactly.
Yeah, and Evans made Johnny Manziel look good.
Yep.
And we know Winston played in the pro style. I would take Winston too to answer the question. Mm-hmm. I think it's something Stephen A. Smith said. He's going to take his chances. You got weapons like that, and he got that big tight end.
Yeah, he sure. I can't. Yeah, yep. Yeah, he got weapons. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to throw, and he got Lovey. So, I'll take him because I think that in a game, I have to deal with the turnovers, as frustrating as they may be.
Right.
But if the rest of my team is solid, I'll take Winston and just hope he can give me 2 touchdowns and maybe 250 to 300 yards passing. And hopefully everybody else is great, and then I can eke by at the quarterback position. Yeah, if I run up against and hope for the best.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Because look at the Saints secondary. Saints don't got nobody in the secondary that concerns you. The Falcons don't got nobody really in the secondary that concerns you. So it's just like, okay, his division alone, it shouldn't be that bad for him. I really don't. I think it's not that bad for Jameis Winston. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, I forgot one more sleeper. Sam Bradford. Healthy
Sam
now.
Bradford.
That's
because rumor has it that the 2 teams with the best offensive line is Dallas and Philadelphia Eagles. So is that going to benefit for Sam Bradford? Is Mr. Glass going to finally hold up and be okay?
Yeah,
we shall see. But that's an interesting sleeper pick right there. That's an interesting one right there.
Yeah, it is. All right, so we got sleepers, bust. We talked about the rankings, draft strategy, man. So, all right, so quarterbacks are always interesting because there are people out there that will argue you don't need a quarterback to win your league. Do you feel that way?
Oh man,
like for instance, if you don't get Brady or Aaron Rodgers or Manning. No, I'm sorry. If you don't get Luck, Manning,
Aaron Rodgers,
you'll be fine because there will always be good quarterbacks that you can just plug in and get you about 20 points. Some people even say you don't really even need to take. Like Manning is a first. Like back when Manning was putting up those
crazy numbers.
Mm-hmm. He was a first round pick. Mm-hmm. People were arguing that unless it was him, you didn't really need to take anybody else in the quarterback position because of the lack of value in, say, for instance, the running back position.
Right.
You need to get running backs, and you can always plug in a quarterback and win.
And this is just based off my experience. Like, I've seen guys that used to have the Drew Breeses of the leagues, the Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Mannings when they was putting up crazy numbers. And I've seen them single-handedly carry their team into the playoffs. Sometimes go to the championship. Maybe might not win it, but they're always a team to beat every week, and they got like the best regular season record and stuff like that. So I would probably have to say I ain't gonna really say you need it, but it helps. It helps. Let me put you like this way. It helps when you have a quarterback like a Drew Brees who was balling out, easily putting up 30 points a week. Because you figured in a fantasy football league where, your touchdowns are worth 6 points, 1 point per receptions or whatever. Not per reception, but 1 point for every 25 yards or whatever like that. those type of scoring without the non PPR leagues. If you got that type of scoring, if you got a QB putting up 30 points, like averaging 30 points a week, I mean, you pretty much racing to 100. To me, that's how I look at it. You racing to 100 every week. If you can get close to 100, you're pretty much winning almost every week. If you got a QB getting 30 points and you got like a number one wide receiver giving you like 15 or 16 every week, that's 50. You got your defense. I mean, that's kind of tough, man. Like, you know, if you got a quarterback that's putting up those type of numbers, I think that's really that for me. I sleep at night a lot better going into Sunday knowing that I got a QB that's going to put up 30 points every week on an average basis. So I say yeah, because I witnessed teams I've never seen a team with a top 3 quarterback putting up 30 points a week that's like, you know, 1-9. Like, they're going to be a team to beat. Because you always got to watch that 30 points that QB is going to put up every time. So I say yeah. But I also, even me, because the year I won championship, I had freaking Matt Schaub as my quarterback. That's when Andre Johnson was like at his peak. And the reason why I picked Matt Schaub, because I'm like, okay, if Andre Johnson is like ranked number top 2, top 3 wide receiver, the quarterback got to get some love. So I got Matt Schaub like late in the 6th, 7th round, but my running back and wide receivers was like a beast. And so like they putting up, you know, 80 points. Only thing I needed from Matt Schaub was like 15, 16 points, and he was putting that up easy because he was throwing it to Andre Johnson all the time. So, you know, if you can really draft really well and solidify your wide receivers and running back positions, then yeah, if you have a top 3 running back and a top 15 running back and like a top 15 and two wide receivers that's top 15, and you can get you you can get your Ryan Tannehill and still do okay.
Yeah,
you know, it's just all how you draft. You got to have a good game plan before you go in, man, and you got to have a plan B, because you might have a plan A going into the draft, but guess what? Two people might draft completely different from what you expected in the draft, so you got to have a plan B and maybe a plan C. You just got to be quick like that when you draft in fantasy football.
This has always been difficult because, like you, I won with Matt Ryan, and you know, right. I know Matt Ryan to put up 2 or 3 touchdowns a game. So I didn't have to worry about a quarterback because I know I could get value that's equal to a Breeze or a Manning. It's not as guaranteed.
Right. It's not as guaranteed.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So you kind of sweat a little bit when you say, oh, man, I got to pick Manning who's going to put up 4 touchdowns. How am I going to match that?
Yep.
So all you're doing is you're looking at your quarterback and you're begging for 2 touchdowns at least.
At least. on a consistent basis too. Because let's not forget now, Ken, I'm pretty sure you witnessed this, you've been a part of this, and you've seen it. You've seen quarterbacks where maybe 2 or 3 weeks in a row. They might go on like a 2-3 week stretch where they probably putting up like 25, 3 touchdowns a game. 3 touchdowns, 300 yards a game. But then they might have a stretch. They might put a 3-week stretch where it's good, but then they might have another 3-week stretch where they're putting up, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 150 yards. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 175 yards. You like, dude, where are you at in week 4, 5, and 6 when you was putting up these numbers? Week 7, 8, and 9, you sticking up the joint. So I get you. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think in first round, when I take a quarterback, so if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at,
look at it like this. Yeah, right. So you picking 10, right? You got a 10th pick in first round. The top like 6 running backs that you know that's going to be money, they're gone. So now you pretty much got the Antonio Browns, you got the Calvin Johnsons, you got these top-notch receivers that you like, man, they look good. Do you get them? Or do you get the Aaron Rodgers, the Andrew Lucks, the Drew Brees of the world? Like, what you get? You know what I'm saying? Or do you take a chance and get that receiver? Since you picking 10, you gonna get that 3rd pick coming back. You take a chance on getting that Drew Brees right there in that 2nd round, early 2nd round, Peyton Manning in the early 2nd round.
So I'm picking 10, 11, 12, 12, 11.
Because I think if you're picking 10, Manning's going to be sitting there. Brees going to be sitting there. Maybe not Aaron Rodgers. Maybe.
Right. So Aaron Rodgers, Luck, Manning, Brees. are there.
And you picking 10. One of those quarterbacks gonna be, if you're picking a receiver first or whatever other position player, running back, whatever, one of those quarterbacks gonna be sitting there coming back.
I would gamble and take the position player because, like you said, I'm guaranteed probably to get one of those guys. I don't see all of them coming off the board.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're just playing unless you're playing with guys who like Manning or who like Aaron Rodgers, like they're gonna pick them. But for the most part, most guys, they're gonna pick the best player available. So
yeah.
So yeah, if you're picking 10. Luck, Rodgers, Manning, or Breeze are going to sit there coming back in that second round. And Ben Roethlisberger.
But you know what? That means I would have to be okay with Breeze. And that's how, because I would love to have Luck, Rodgers, or Manning.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to be willing to pass up on them, let them be drafted, and be okay with Breeze. Because I'm not really that high on Breeze. I would take him depending on where he fell. But for me, I would probably go ahead and sew that up and take Luck.
You take Luck
because I think
at 10 you might pick Luck at 10 right there off.
I might pick Luck at 10 because I might not be as comfortable this year with Breeze as I would have been in years past.
Before, yep.
So if I'm passing up on Luck, Rodgers, and Manning, if Breeze fell to me, I don't even think I would draft him because I think I can get that production elsewhere based on what I'm thinking Breeze will do this year with the loss of Jimmy Graham. If he had Jimmy Graham, that's different because I would probably try to get Breeze and then I would probably try to get Graham later and do that 1-2 punch like you had last year. But yeah, if I can't get that, then I would probably go ahead and take the quarterback because I know, like you said, I'm plugging in 30. I'm plugging in 30 a week. I'm plugging in 30 a week. I'm a little iffy on Manning because I think they're going to try to rest him a little bit this year to save him for the second half of the year. But Luck or Rodgers, I probably would have to go in and sew that up.
Because I'm sorry. Go ahead. Because
go ahead.
No, I say because I'm looking at this right. I'm looking at the overall player rankings, like from one, like just from each player rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you figured. If you're going by these rankings, right, and it's a 12-man team, so you got Marshawn Lynch at 1, Adrian Peterson at 2, Jamal Charles at 3, Eddie Lacy at 4, Le'Veon Bell at 5, Antonio Brown at 6, Dez Bryant at 7. Now notice I have not named the QB yet. Rob Gronkowski at 8, Odell Beckham at 9, Demaryius Thomas at 10, Julio Jones, Jeremy Hill, C.J. Anderson, DeMarco Murray. You know when a QB is finally on this list? At 17. That's way in the middle of the second round. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. But looking at that, people are not going to... Someone is going to pick a QB in the first round. Somebody got to pick a QB in the first round. I cannot see an entire first round go without a QB being picked, rather it's Andrew Luck or Aaron Rodgers. I don't... Them 10 players you just heard me name... I don't see no draft going that way. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't either. Let me go back through this. I
can name it to you again if you just need it real quick because I got it up. If you just look to 1 to 10.
Are you on Yahoo?
Yeah. I just went the overall player rankings and then
Now let's look at fantasy points though, and this is interesting because I don't place a lot of value on the quarterback. I can win a league with
the Matt Ryan Tannehill type of quarterback.
Yeah, I can because if my position players are killing, it's a wrap because you will be weak in that area, and all I need to do is come close to. All I need is 20 to 25 points. If I can come close to the 30 that you're probably guaranteed to put up, I think I can win that because I know you're gonna fail somewhere in the position player. But here's something that's interesting. Just off fantasy points alone, quarterbacks are the top.
Yeah, I know.
They're leading.
I know.
All of
the
next position player is DeMarco Murray.
Yep.
He's below Matthew Stafford.
And this is by last year, according to last year, right?
Last year.
Yeah.
So maybe people are kind of undervaluing quarterbacks. I've never really looked at it that way. I just know that those position players are tough to come by. So for me, if I can't get a Luck or Rodgers or Manning, I just don't believe it. I think I can get value. I think I can get Big Ben, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Brady, Matt Ryan value later on, and probably starting in 5th or 6th round. Because at that point, think about this. Depending on the draft position players that I have, I can put together a lethal combo.
Yeah. You sure? I mean, you
combo.
can.
Imagine if I get Dez Bryant in the 1st round or 2nd round, and Romo just happened to fall 4th or 5th round. Come on, man. It won't even be fair.
That's taking a chance, though. I mean, that's you gambling. If you really hoping for that, you gambling on that.
Or maybe I'll just go ahead and get in the 3rd round. So if I get Dez, because if I'm drafting, I'm looking at it like depending on where I'm picking.
Okay, so right now I'm looking at they got Dez Bryant at 7. So say you picking 7, you pick Dez Bryant, your first round pick, 7. It comes back again. Say by the time it comes back, you're gonna have like a Calvin Johnson, Matt Forte, LaShawn McCoy available. So you know what I'm saying? Like, are you still loading up at that position? You know that position. You gonna have Dez Bryant and you gonna beast with like Calvin Johnson at your 2nd pick coming back?
I've done that before. I didn't like that. I tried that elite because I went Marshall. I think last year I went Marshall. I had Jordy Nelson, and I had like 3 elite wideouts.
Receivers, yeah.
And they were it was murderous, but my running backs were struggling because I lost AP and I had Toby Gerhardt. Yeah, so I ended up paying for it. It's not my fault. It wasn't Adrian Peterson. It wasn't my fault because Adrian Peterson got suspended.
Right.
But I didn't have any running backs.
Yep.
So I tried that last year. I got burned, and so I don't think I would do that. I think I would get me a running back this year, and this is contingent. If Rodgers and Luck are off the board, Rodgers, Luck, and Manning are off the board by the time the 7th pick comes.
The 2nd pick?
7th. If I pick 7th.
If you're picking 7th. Oh, okay, I got you.
7. If the 3 of them are off the board,
then they won't, Ken. They won't. I mean, the only way they will it depends on who you know you're playing with. Like if you know you playing with say like if you know you picking 7 and like say if Trap Stars or somebody else you know who like loves Aaron Rodgers or who loves Drew Brees, like who loves certain players. They're not going to be gone, man, because they're going to go after the running backs first because the running back is super thin. So if you pick at 7, you're going to choose pretty much between Aaron Rodgers or Andrew Luck, pretty much. You're going to have your picking.
That's rough.
Because Lynch going to be gone, Adrian Peterson going to be gone.
I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at the rank, the rank. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be gone. Like I said, after you name like top 5 running backs, you pretty much like you roll dice on running backs at that point. I mean, you don't have a sure thing. So those running backs gonna be gone. If you picking 7, you sitting there pretty with Andrew Luck or Andrew Rodgers at your disposal.
You got me. See, you kind of messed with me because I've never placed value on quarterback. I've just position players. But if Andrew Luck and Rodgers are sitting there, what would I do?
Mm-hmm. That's a sure thing. Sure thing. You know what you're gonna get from them guys, man. You're gonna easily get nothing less than 20 points. I mean, that's at least. That's minimum. 20
I just
points.
don't want to hurt my position play. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt my position players, but I think at the spot, if they even fell that far.
But you know what? I got something that can counter your position players. In 2 words. Waiver wire. You better if you're gonna do that, you better just be like, look, you know what? I'm gonna be sharking like every week, and you can find you that gem. Trust me, we find gems every single year. Every year, it never fails us, Ken. There's always a guy that you be like, damn, I was trying to get him, but my waiver wasn't high enough because he was gonna be a gem from week 4 on to the rest of the season. So you better waiver wire, man. You better shark. If you're gonna do that.
Yeah. Okay. So before we wrap up, let me throw some scenarios out at you.
Okay.
You got the pick, and this is you're picking, and these are your options.
Okay.
Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning. Who do you pick?
Andrew Luck.
Russell Wilson or Tony Romo?
I'm gonna say Russell Wilson just because I put Tony Romo on a possible bust list, like the disappointment list.
Drew Brees or Big Ben?
Ben, just because of the weapons he got. I mean, you made a good point with the Drew Brees about. I think you put him as the possible bust, because Jimmy Graham's gone now. So make Ben.
Tannehill or Eli Manning?
Man, I had. It's interesting because I think these are both of my quarterbacks I put in as my sleepers, like to have like great years. I'm gonna say Tannehill only because he's in the weaker division.
All right, last one: Joe Flacco or Cam Newton? Cam got weapons. He got Benjamin, and they drafted another receiver. And he got
Cam, because he not only give me passing touchdowns, he give me rushing touchdowns too.
I think he only had like 5 or 6 last year.
He did. He didn't run the ball that much, but that's still an option. Like he can still give you 230 passing yards and 74 rushing yards. That's fantasy points. That's 7 points right there.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well. Hey, I think that'll do it, man. That'll wrap up the QB preview. I think we covered everything. Apologies for everyone that's listening to this. We out. I hope you guys find this information valuable, and we know that if you listen to us, you're gonna win your league. And you're listening to 2 winners here.
That's right.
Man. This is what we do. 28 years combined experience. That's gonna do it for us, man. We out. Peace.
Peace.